Hi, Ann Cornick from Paint and Porcelain. I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting and also to hope that those of you that have been painting a while will give us some tips and suggestions. And today we're going to finish our second fire on our Santa plate. And this is how my first fire came out. Yeah, and you can see he's kind of washed out there. I did do a second fire on my tile, and this is what my tile looks like. And I was amazed at how dark the second fire was. It really came out well. For today, I added a few colors, and I didn't tell you about them, but if you have a full palette, it shouldn't be a problem. We still have either your ivory or your light flesh and a flesh, or you can use like pompadour or something like that. I like the carnation for his cheeks. I tried doing my second second coat of Santa with just the flesh, and it was kind of brownish. I wasn't real pleased. White, moss green, chartreuse and moss green both. And then I have a medium brown. I use auburn. You don't have to use auburn. You can use whatever medium brown you have. It could be hair brown. It could be any brown. This is a little bit of Copenhagen because on my Santa, I made his eyes black and I made them too dark and I didn't like them. And so I used a little bit of blue over it, Copenhagen blue over it, and to give him a little bit of an iris. It seemed to dull down the black. This is a blue. I have shading green. This is warm brown gray. And then I have an autumn, but you could use warm brown green or any color you want pretty much for the background and the edge. Now on this one, as you can see, when I did the second fire, I made him much more blue around there. I kind of like that a little better. But it just depends what colors you have available. Now, what else are we going to use on this today? We're going to use one of these. If you have it, it's great. It has these little edges there and there that you can put on a plate. And I'll show you how to do that. And then you go around and you can make a border. Now, the pencil I prefer to use for that is this Stabilo. It's, I'll get it a little closer for you so you can see. It seems to have a softer lead and so it grabs better. And I like that about it a lot. So you're also going to need a wedge eraser if you have it. We're going to use this end of it, the dotted end, but you could use the other end if you want. And then for brushes, you're going to need you're going to need at least one itty bitty one. This is my micro. It's 5 zeros, okay? This is like a 2. Here, I'll put it in front of my face. This is my 12 or 10, whatever you want to call it. It says it's a 12, but it's more like a 10. And then this is my 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch. I'm going to be using all of these in order to do his face today. And then if you're going to be signing it, and you should probably sign on this at this time, then get yourself a pen and some pen oil and sign your name at the very end. I signed, on this one, I signed kind of close to his beard down in here, so it wasn't interfering too much, but you know, you can decide where you want to do it. Okay, I think it's time that we get going. One thing you can't use to do this border, you cannot use a Sharpie, because the Sharpies, the end of it kind of builds up really quick there, see? And it won't fit through these holes. So let me show you how I do the border. I did the border first because I just think it works better if you do the border first. On my other one, I picked this hole here to do it with. So you put it on, you pick a hole, and I'm going to do it up here so you can see. And then as I go around, it finishes that off. And of course, this will fire off. Now, the next fire, we're actually going to do the raised paste around the edges. So if you're not quite even, it's not a big deal. It will even itself out. We're going to start working with Santa Claus, then we're going to go out and do the border, and I hope we have enough time for all this. But Santa definitely needs a second fire. And I found with Santa that the second fire went a little faster than the first, so hopefully that'll work for us as well. All righty, so I'm going to start with the flesh color. We're going to start with his face, and we're just going to pretty much painted it. I want it to be a little bit darker. It really didn't show. And on this one, the wrinkles kind of fired out. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. Now I am using, this is not my own design, just so you know. I am using from the 1995 China Decorator, and this was done by Annalie Crocker, and I'm using her style, her Santa, because I like the Father Santa, you know, the Father Christmas. I'm not crazy about Santas, you know, the commercial Santas. So, okay, so I'm just doing this kind of all over, just to get the color in there. Alrighty, and then I'm going to take some flesh, and I'm going to do up by his fur cap that he's wearing, and along this side. And I'm side loading with the flesh. You can test it on your tile if you're concerned that it's going to be too dark, and pull it across him, because you can pull it back the other way. So pull it across a little bit. And then we're going to go down this side of his face. Now, you're going to do it a little bit darker this time, because you really don't want to have to go back and do your Santa again, but you may have to. So, you know, that's not really a problem. He's far enough away from the edge that it should work. And I have to redo his wrinkles here, because they didn't come out. And then I'm going to take, for his cheeks, I'm using a little bit of carnation. And I find that the carnation gives me the right color pink for his cheeks. If I use the flesh, like I said, it's kind of brownish, and it just doesn't really give him the holly jolly look that I want. So I'm not changing, you know, I'm not cleaning my brush too much. I'm just putting these colors on. Going around this side and doing a little back here. Oops, come on. You'd be surprised. It always amazes me how these colors go on. And then he needs a little red nose, and so we're coming down the middle of his nose with this. I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to come down the middle of his nose. It's hard to see his nose on here, but it's right there. Okay. Alrighty. And then I go back to my mini brush. Now the reason I'm going to my, oh, let's even this out a little more here. Just do kind of C strokes. That'll kind of even it out for you. And then I'm going back to my mini brush. And that's the 50000 brush. Oh, it's not clean. Hang on. And I'm going to dip into the flesh. And I'm going to start working around his eyes. And see, I can still put my hand here to steady it. So that's one of the things that I do like about this. Okay, I'm going to test it so it's not too dark. And I'm going to go around the top of his eyes. And it's not going to look like much from where you are. And then I'm going to go around the top of these eyes, this eye here, right up into the brow. And I'm going to go under his eyes, because we're going to create wrinkles there, because the wrinkles that I had there last week didn't really fire in too well. So I'm just, he looks like he has a black eye right now. And I'm going to take and wipe out some of those. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get this, get the color a little better here. I'm going to use my bigger brush to kind of even out the color. There we go. And then I'm going to take my little teeny tiny brush. I'm going to put in a little bit of wrinkles. Now, wrinkles are real important. Let me show you. When you're doing a wrinkle, you're just doing a very fine line. This, and this, not that dark. And on his forehead, the wrinkles go more like this. They start on the side of his forehead, they go across, they dip down a little, and then they go across. Can you see those? Let's see here. Yeah. So let's do it again. They start on the side, they go across, they dip down a little, and then they go across. And then if you want to add a few more, you can add, you know, a little, and just let the paint come off your brush. Don't keep loading your brush. You don't want these to be those real obvious lines. You just want them to be there. He has a few up here. Hang on a minute here. Okay, he has a few up here. And they are contoured to his face. So they're kind of a long C to his face. And he's just got a couple under here. And then he has these across his brow. And for some reason, they did not take. Some of them did, but not all of them. So I'm just going to do it again real lightly with flesh. I'm using flesh. And then he's got one here. Oh, and he has a couple over here. Oh, maybe one up here. Okay. I need something to pad this with. So I'm going to take this sponge and just, okay. And then we have his nose here. Now let me show you the wrinkles. Can you see the wrinkles on him? That's how the wrinkles look on him. Around his eyes and on his forehead. And if you think those are too deep, you can always take and I would say use a brush like this and just kind of carefully wipe them back. And this red isn't quite the red I wanted here. It's more orangey. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, let's get this back here. Okay, now his, we did his eyes. We have his eyes to fill in. I'm going to fill him in with the Copenhagen today because I really like the way the Copenhagen did it. I'm going to do a little more here. There. Okay, and now we have to do his mouth and his nose. His mouth will be carnation. And it's right here. I don't even think it showed up the last time. There we go. There we go. As we do his beard, his mouth will kind of get better. And I'm going to wipe off the paint that got on his eyebrows. I might put a little more white on this one. Let me get, now I'm trying these, everybody tells me these are wonderful, these Q-tips with the points. I think my stub wipes out better than they do, but just an idea. Okay. And then we're going to do his nose and his face. Now for his nose, I took a little bit of brown, mixed it in with a little bit of flesh, and I actually am bringing it down to give you more of a, come here you, a little bit of a line there, a little bit of a shadow. And then I'm going to use the auburn to do his nostrils. All with this little thing. Keep your big brush handy because you can use it a lot. Okay, so that's your Santa. Now we're going to start up in the fur. And I've got my warm brown gray side loaded, and I'm just, need a little more oil. And I'm just going to put a little warm brown gray up in here. Okay. And then I'll pull it across sort of to hide it a little. And then we're going to do the red. Now you're going to try to put the red around these leaves as best you can. Pull them around the leaves as best you can and the berries and what have you. Pull it up over his cap. All the way across. Over here, you're gonna kind of get in around those, pull it in a little closer. This is the ball right there, the fur ball on his cap. So we don't want to do that. And then this, we're going to come over here and do this. And this is pretty simple. Now, if you want to give a little more depth there, you can add a little bit of that brown that you had to the red. Full load red, side load brown. And you can just add a little bit of a little darker color. This is the light brown, not the dark brown, not a dark brown. And it'll give you a little bit more shading if that's something you want to do. I kind of like it, so that's why I'm doing it. Alrighty. And then this is going to be that little ball. So I'm wiping it out first. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of warm brown gray to this side of it, a little bit. So I'm sold on the stubs. They seem to pick up more of the color for me. Okay, we're going to do the little guys up on top there. They're pretty simple. We're just going to color these in. It's a full load of chartreuse, a side load of moss for these, or you could go darker if you want. Now, I'll tell you the reason I'm not going a whole lot darker. I might go a little darker, but not a whole lot darker, is because I'm going to take and use my pen, and I'm going to outline these, and I think that will help a lot. And I've got this one here is going what way? Oh, it's going this way. I had to figure it out. When they fire out like this, it's hard to see. Okay. And then we have this one here. I think I did him already. This one up here. Now, they're so nondescript that I really found that I needed to use a pen to make them look more like holly. It's easier than trying to play with them when they're this small. And I'm all about, let's make it easy. Let's not spend a lot of time on something if we don't need to. I do want a little dark green closer to his pom-pom though. And you can cut in with the dark green like that and then just pull it out to make the pom-pom look a little more pom-pom-ish. Okay, we're going to mix our oil to do those little leaves. For those of you that haven't done oil before, pen oil, there's a little trick to it, not much. I'm going to use a dark green. I'm using my, I think I'll use maybe my shading green. Okay. And I'm adding, I'm using my regular paint. Add this until you can drip it from the end. You scoop it up and it drips from the end of your knife. Now mine is not doing that, so I need a little more. And I just put my knife in here on an angle and just do it. So there, see, it's going to drip. When it drips, you know it's the right consistency. Okay, I'm going to put this on a flat surface now. And I'm going to bring my plate back up. And you're just going to go around the leaves. Outline them. Do the little middle. And if they're not real clear, the nice thing is, come here, work for me. You can kind of make your own leaf as you go with the outlining. So that's another reason I like it. If it's a little, this is still a little sloppy, I'm going to just add a little more of your paint to it, and it should even it right out. There we go, that's a little better. And you scoop it. You scoop it like this. And then you draw at a 45-degree angle. Not upside down, Those of you that are using your pen upside down, I know some people say it works. And if it works for you, you can do anything you want. And go from the bottom up to make the little guy in the middle. And this guy, you don't even have to go all the way around him. If you just get a couple of spots on him, like here and here and here, you're fine. That one's good. And then here, here. Try to follow the paint that's there, even if it doesn't make sense to you, because you don't want to be drawing in where there's no paint. Okay, so those are my little leaves, and then I'm going to take my carnation, oops, and I'm going to just make a few more of these little guys here. Okay, alrighty, now we're going to do his beard. Well, let's use my number 12. That'll work just as well. And you're going to get the warm brown gray. I think the warm brown gray gives you a better, I think you could take hair brown and a gray, if you have a light gray, and mix them together, you might get this color, and you're just going to go and do his beard. You're going to pull a little from up here, come down, swirl around. He needs a lot more depth in his beard this time. I love doing the beard. The beard's so much fun. Let's keep doing the beard. And I'm going to do a little along here. And he has a little on his mustache. So I'm just going to do his mustache in on the side like that and a little under here. Okay. Then I'm going to start pulling out his mustache. You can use a stub. You can use these pointy things if you want. These pointy, what are these? Q-tips. I don't find that they work quite as well as I want them to. For some reason, Santa's mustache is not as white as I wanted it to be either. So I'll put a little white in it. That'll help there. Never be afraid to use a little white if you need to. And then I'm going to start. Now, we really should do, I can do the up here. And I can do his ear a little. He needs a little bit of a red ear here. Okay. Here we go. And you can do on him, but I would hold off. Now I'm using the side of a stub. You can use anything you want. I'm going to do the background. I was not real happy with my shading green. I kind of thought it was too dark. I really didn't like it. This, I'm not thrilled. I wanted a different green. And here, let me turn it around so you can see what's been done so far. And so I'm looking right now to see if I have something else I like better. And I don't really have anything mixed up except my cool shadow, which when you mix it with shading green, it does get a real pretty color. And so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just taking and I'm going over Santa, and you can go over the edge. This is not something that you have to be real particular about. You can clean off the edge. So do that. Don't waste your time on trying to keep the edge nice and clean, because quite frankly, you'll be able to do that. Now you can go over Santa's beard, but not the hat. Try to keep the hat clean. And obviously a second coat goes on a lot smoother. And I need a little more oil. I'm just winging it all the way around here. So those of you that say, oh, I can't paint a background, you can on this, because like I said, you don't have to worry about the edges. And you don't have to worry about anything except, oops, there, I brushed off a leaf. We'll have to fix that later. I can do that before I take it down to fire it. All right, now I've got the dark green on my brush, full load. This is shading green, by the way. I mixed it with the blue as I was doing it. And I've got the turntable. Now, I know I don't usually advocate two turntables. Not everybody has them. But I'll tell you, what the turntable can do for something like this and help you get your color on more smoothly is amazing. Okay. And now I'm taking the side of my, this is my guy here, the side of my stub, and I'm going to go out into the background. Oops. Ah, it's too deep. Here. Now watch. I don't like that, so I'm just brushing over it, right? And then I will go back and I will now I'm getting green up in here. So I'll go back and take that off. Even with your, see there, how pretty? Even with your little Q-tips, you have to go back and look at the color and make sure that you're not leaving more than you're picking up. And then up in here. And there you have it. I think he looks super. Now I'm going to take a clean stub and I'm just going to go around my edge, clean it up. That's why I said don't waste a lot of time on this. Oops, cleaned up too much there. Okay. Okay, I think I'm almost where I started. Okay, that's good enough. You're going to be putting dots there. It'll look fine. Now we're going to do the border. And now I'm using either a warm brown green. In this case, I'm using an auburn because I really like it. And I'm painting the border. Oh dear, this is going to take a while. Let me get a bigger brush. Ladies and gentlemen, you need a big brush all the time. If you can find a bigger brush, keep a bigger brush handy. Here's my gold brush. I like the gold brush. It's an 18. This is my gold brush. And it works real well. So now, if you wiggle your brush in the paint a little bit, like that, it will go on a little darker. It'll also go on a little darker if you use, let me see if this works. I've heard that if I use my mixture that I made up from Randy with mineral oil in it, it also goes darker. Let me see if that works. This has mineral oil in it. You have to go kind of both directions on this, and don't work too far ahead of yourself. I would say a third of the plate is even a little bit too much, but I just want to show you what we're going to do. And then you can do the rest on your own. First we paint it, and then we're going to take, and I'm going to use this end to cut out some holly. So the first thing I do is I want the holly to be white. So I'm doing the edges. Oops, hang on. It seems like it has a better point. There we go. And then we're going to bring it towards the middle. Now I'm pulling towards the center because you just want that line down the center, and that's it. And see, I've already done too much here because I've gotten my hand on it. So what I would say is just make sure you have points on your end there. So you take your solvent, as I was saying before, you take your solvent. I'm using turpenoid. You really you dip it in, clean off your brush, and really take time to get the stuff off. And then, and this is a situation where, here, let me show you, this might work better. This is not flimsy. So I could do this and put my hand on this or a board or whatever you have, and that would help too. So I'm going to do this guy, and then I'm going to do this guy over here. Bring it out. Bring it out. Wipe off your brush as you go. You want your brush super, super clean. And then bring it down to the end. Okay? And you're just doing holly leaves. So it's a curl with a point. Oh. A curl with a point. Then you do the other side, but leave the middle. And then bring the point to the end, like that. That's it. And you can do the same thing with these. I don't know why it was fighting me, but it was. There, now it's not. Maybe I needed the paint to set up a little. It's easier with these. And then I take my brush and I just pull it into the middle. And then you can go back with the eraser, make it a little thinner if you need to. And you just keep moving around. Oh, wrong end. Then take your brush. Always wipe them off before you start. Pull it towards the center. These are going to be white holly leaves intentionally. That's why they're so simple to do. And then you might want to make that a little skinnier in the middle there. There. Now, if you get a lot of buildup on the sides of your leaves, like here, you can just lightly brush it and it will pick up. And then you're going to take, and I use my little micro guy, and you're just going to put some berries here and there. And I might put, oh, 2 up here. Now, you might want to wipe them out first, because I'm looking at this, and this is not working very well. So I'll wipe 1 out there, 1 out there, 1 out there. Okay, and now I'll take my micro, and I'm just going to put my berries in. Up. I use the little brushes for this. I suppose you could use bigger brushes. I suppose you could even use some of those applicators to do it. I don't know, could you? Let's see. Okay, this is the little one. I'm dipping it in the red. And then I'm dipping it in the... Yeah, I suppose you could. Look at that. And they're even more delicate. Yeah, I suppose you could. You can buy them on Amazon. They're called Plastic Care USA disposable micro applicators, and this is what they look like. They come in a jar like this, and there are different colors for different sizes. So that's the micro size. Let me show you the next size. These are supposed to be the bigger ones. Let's see how much bigger they are. Oops, that's too big. Not bad. Oh, I think those are perfect. So I guess that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this, huh? So that kind of gives you an idea of some options if you're in the mood to try some new things, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So this is how he's turned out so far, and this is the this one I did with the brush, but these I did with the little applicators. And this little guy, all he needs, here's this guy. See how much better that works? So can you see what I've done there? There. Oops, that's the border we're going to do. I'm going to finish this plate. I'm going to fire him. I love the applicators for the berries. I think for a border, you don't need to do a whole lot of detail in the berries. You can just do a basic berry and be done. So I'm pretty sold on those for that. And you can also use it for gold, as I told you. So, you know, if you want to try those, that's great. But don't go buy stuff just to buy stuff, you know, use what you have. Okay, I'll see you next time. Pick up those brushes, keep painting. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe so that other people can learn more about China painting and we can get the word out to more people. You also can look at the links below. My paintnporcelain.com website has a lot of freebies and printables for new and experienced painters, as well as studies, supplies, and even some of my hand-painted china. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time.